Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Selvia Ocktaviani with student number A320220164. So today in this occasion I would like to deliver a presentation about translation techniques revisited a dynamic and functionalist approach. So let's get started. Okay, this in this research objective of this presentation is first clarify the concept of translation techniques as a tool for text analysis. Second, differentiate translation techniques from method and strategies. And the third, purpose a dynamic and functional approach to translation technique. Okay. Okay, the next is key division. So, first, translation technique is a process that affects the outcome of translation and operates a micro unit of text. And then, translation method, a global choice impacting the entire text. Meanwhile, the translation strategy is steps taken by the translator to solve problem during the translation process. So that's the key definition. And then the next one is criteria for translation techniques. Okay, techniques are influenced by text genre, type of translation, technique literally, etc., mode of translation, written, simultaneous, etc., purpose and target audience of the translation. So that's the criteria for translation technique. So basically it influenced by those four. And then the next one is classification of translation techniques. There are some. Actually, the first adaptation is replacing a source cultural element with one from the target culture. Is like to fit the target audience expectation and the meaning. And then the second amplification is adding additional information not present in the source text. The third, borrowing, taking a word or phrase directly from the source language. So borrowing, the example of borrowing is like when we say pizza, it directly, we borrow the word pizza directly from English in Indonesia. We don't really have the similarity of pizza in bahasa Indonesia. So that's the example of borrowing. And then maybe for adaptation is for like replacing the idiom for from the source language to the target language, like maybe kecil-kecil cabai rawit in Indonesia, but in English it's not like small chili, it's not like that, but it translated to English as small but fierce. And then the next one is kalku, is a literal translation of a foreign phrase. And then compensation is moving information or stylistic elements within the translation. And then the last is description, replacing a term with a description of its form or function. So that's uh, the next of the classification technique. There's call to compensation and description. So description is like uh yeah, like that. And then the next one is establish equivalent, is using a recognized term in the target language. And then generalization is using a more general or neutral term. And then modulation, changing the point of view or cognitive category in translation. Okay. Usually the established equivalent is used for the legal, academic or religious texts because it used like the recognized, the formal structure term, etc. And usually use literal translation for them. And then the generalization is like the functional equivalent because they use like the neutral term to avoid bias. And then it's come to the end, the conclusion. So translation techniques allow for the analysis of translation equivalence. Techniques are dynamic and context dependent, tailored to purpose and audience. Differentiating between methods, strategies, and technique clarifies the translation process. Okay. Thank you for the attention.